fine. Yeah, okay, great. So my husband, my 2 daughters and I flew in from the Gold Coast last Friday, and we got to the airport, and a really great friend of ours picked us up from the airport. And he's like, Alice, what are you speaking about at this event that you're going to? I said, recognizing success. And he was like, I've got a great idea. Just put a whole bunch of bags on the ceiling, make it rain with dollar bills, and then just drop the mic and walk off. I was like, all right, Mark, that's really funny, but we don't really roll that way. In doTERRA, it's a little bit deeper than that. Didn't really understand that, but I kind of like that too, because what I want to talk to you about is on a deeper level, and I feel like you all here are ready to hear that. You really understand that success isn't just a rank. It's not about miraculous money from the sky. It's not being given a car on a stage. It's deeper. It's the good stuff. It's the juice. And if anyone has been wondering when they're going to get some juicy stuff, I really, really hope to fill you up with some of that in this next little while together. So when I think about success, what it really means to me is happiness. When we talk about happiness, it's the search for gratitude, it's the search for goodness in stuff. And so what I want you guys to think about is that success is this round circle, and happiness is this ball of light between it. Happiness is what radiates out of this success, and so everything comes back to that place of happiness. And so really, what I want to talk to you guys about today isn't so much about this. Sorry, Spencer. I changed it up. This is actually what I'm going to talk to you about today, how to lead with happiness. And I changed that title up because this, to me, actually really puts us in a place of leading ourselves from a place of happiness, leading our teams from a place of happiness, and that's where the success comes from, guys. So 7 principles for leading with happiness, and after Joey totally ran us over yesterday with his three points, I have 7, so sorry guys. But do you know what? If you have something that aligns with you, that you feel really deeply connected with, take that on board. If you don't align with something, leave it. Take it or leave it. If that means 3 things that you can take away today that are really going to support you in leading with happiness in your teams, then I'll be so happy with that too. So first up, lead yourself first. Number 2, create goals with soul. Number 3, alignment brings all the biz builders to the yard. Feel free to sing that one if you want it. Number 4, run your own race. Number 5, celebrate growth. Number 6, fun is strategic. And number 7, give your team something to run towards. I see people taking photos, so I'll just give it a second on that one. It's the worst when people go through it and then you don't get your picture. Okay, so before we dive in though, I want to take you back 2.5 years. So 2.5 years ago, I was actually in Perth. I was just down the road at the, I think it's the Perth Symphony Centre, Symphony Orchestra place. Sorry, Perth people. We were actually living here for a year. I came back from maternity leave quite early with my first daughter, Quinn. I came back from maternity leave at 6.5 months into when she was born. And that process of going back to work before I was ready, before she was ready, really felt heavy. And so for the next year, we were really in that place as a family of struggle. We didn't feel like we were showing up as parents as we wanted to, I didn't feel like I was showing up to work in terms of managing the leaders that I worked with in the way that I wanted to either. And so really from this place where you see this picture in the middle here, I was at TEDx Perth, and they asked us, what's your big idea? And my big idea was how to lead with happiness, which, I'm here today to talk about. And you can see there's a little bit of a formula here, but I was kind of searching for that happiness within myself because we got off track as a family. We got off track with our purpose. And so I looked a little bit different 2.5 years ago. I had this 6-month baby belly. And that's my daughter Quinn, and then in my tummy, my second little girl, Mackie, who's now 2. So fast forward a few months later, I bought my first enrollment kit. I reached out to my now upline in Canada, and I enrolled, and I was like, yes, I'm going to do the business. And being back in Perth this time has felt really, really, really different. So I posted this on my Facebook page the other day. On the left-hand side, my 2 little girls eating breakfast in a house that we rented this week. And my caption on there was the toughest thing that we have to think about doing this week or today is how long we're going to be in our pajamas for and where we're going to get coffee from. Tick, tick. And then on the right-hand side, there's me relaxing on the deck, I'm drinking my coffee, and I've got my feet up. And those are really accurate reflections of what those days looked like for me. They felt easy, they felt full of flow, they felt happy and joyful. But who here has ever had a business that every day the business feels like this? No. No. I want to say that my business has had loads of days like this. So, one of the pictures here is me at the gym with my little girl Mackie, and that's basically for about 5 months that was us going to the gym together. I was like, oh, that's going to happen again, but I'll just go try and do one sit-up. And then the other side was post-convention tour in Utah last year with my husband and my 2 daughters. We went to Yosemite National Park afterwards, and that was my husband's expression the majority of the camping trip. And also my daughter, also her expression the majority of the camping trip too. And I want to share that because I want to share the real stuff here, guys. I want to share the real juice. And to me, that means that happiness is a journey. Does that mean that every day is going to be happy? No! Who has kids here? Raise your hand. Probably most people. Who has a fur baby? Anyone? They're all a piece of SHIT sometimes. Not every day is going to be filled with joy and happiness and wonder. And sometimes I think that sometimes I'm seen as this little fairy who jumps across the stage who talks about happiness and gets maybe a little bit ungrounded. But I truly believe that the work in this business comes when you are okay with the growth, when you're okay with the good days, the bad days, but you're looking for the goodness in each moment. And to me, that's what success is. It's looking for the goodness in each moment of the journey and inspiring your leaders to do the same thing as well. And so one of the ways that I actually, back a bit. So one of the ways that I actually, for myself and my leaders, help them to feel engaged in that process of looking for the goodness is this here. So this is called a heartbeat sheet. Every month, before the first of every month, my leaders send this to me. This is like a mentor sheet with soul. And so I get them to send this to me, their leaders send it to them, and it kind of duplicates down the line with the people who are really invested in doing the business and up-leveling. But you can notice here that there's questions on here that look through what is your current business goal. We talk about numbers, we talk about growth, we talk about all those things that are really juicy and important for growing our doTERRA business. But you'll also notice, I also ask, what are you most grateful for in your business right now? What is the most inspiring podcast or book or resource you listened to last month? And so what it does for our leaders when we put them in that place of looking and searching for the goodness along the growth is that they can be in that place of seeing where they've come from and choosing how to move forward with all of the bits, the good stuff, the not so good stuff. But if anyone's looked at the scientific kind of side of our brains and happiness, it's actually not having a happy thought that makes us happy or grateful or clicks on that, that happy bit in our brain. Super scientific, I know. But it's actually the process of searching for that happy thought. So it's not you saying, I am grateful for, but it's actually getting into a practice of saying, what can I look for that's grateful in my life that actually inspires happiness? So you are encouraging your leaders to be able to do that when you give them something like this to actually create every month as well. On the other side, this is actually my, what I call my internal compass. This is what sits on my desktop at all times, and I created this when I hit Diamond in February. I wanted something, actually I might have created it in the month that I hit Diamond. This is something that helps me no matter where I'm at in my business, no matter where I'm at in my day, no matter if my kids are crying and things are going crazy, it helps me to get really, really focused on the things that are most important to me. Again, looking for the goodness and creating a little bit of a barometer of what makes me happy in my life, which moves me forward to what actually creates success for me as well. And so you'll notice there's I'm a blue diamond. For sure that's a red goal, but there's also things that help me check in to am I being a good parent in the way that I want to parent, which is slow parenting and lunch dates with my little girls. There's check-ins on how am I showing up in my relationship with monthly date nights. There's check-ins on how I want to feel in my body. That's lifelong vitality. That's meal prepping on Sundays. That's going to the gym 4 times a week. Does this always happen? No. But if I can keep track of what is feeling good in my body and keep this as the internal compass of what I move towards, then I know that things will be okay. It doesn't have to look perfect, but it's my vision of what's happy, and that's what I move towards in my business constantly. So this is actually 3 pictures that I posted on Facebook the week that I was going for Diamond. So I want to tell you a little bit of a story. So there was a week leading up to my goal of going Diamond for the first time, and had a week to go. And Monday and Tuesday are usually the only 2 days a week that my oldest little girl goes to daycare, and my smallest little girl, so I've got Quinn is 3.5 and Mackie is 2. My smallest little 2-year-old Mackie doesn't go to daycare. She's not been ready for it yet, so we're with each other all the time. But my oldest daughter usually goes to daycare on a Monday and a Tuesday, and on this particular Monday, which is the left-hand side here, she said, "Mummy, I don't want to go to daycare today. I just want to be near you." And I said, "Okay, baby," thinking 7 days to go Diamond. All right, okay. But also, intuitively, I knew she just needed to connect. And I knew that having her home that day was what would feel really aligned for me in my goal for Diamond as well. So I kept her home. We went to the creek, which is just near my house, and we had fun. I'm sure there was some toddler tantrums thrown in too, but we mostly had a beautiful morning together. We wake up on Tuesday, and the same daughter that I kept home from daycare on day 1 had woken up with an eye infection, and she had a fever. And so we ended up keeping her home, obviously, again from daycare that day. We wore our pajamas. We snuggled up on the couch. We watched a movie, Trolls 9 or something. And we just sat. Was this the ideal lead up to Diamond? No. But all the way, this is what felt aligned for me and what felt aligned for that week. The other picture is, a few days later, I was actually meant to be in a Facebook Live with one of my frontline leaders who was going silver for the first time that month. And we were meant to be very engaged in the conversation that we were having. We were meant to be doing Facebook Lives and talking about products and really giving from that place of energy into that space and education. And as I was in my garage, which is really meant to be my office, but it's actually a garage, I could hear my husband outside, who has 1 day off a week to support me in my business and to look after the girls, trying to console my little girl Mackie, and it just wasn't working. And so I went out to the garage, and I sort of found myself through that day going back between my garage with my little girl and up upstairs. And this is one of the pictures that I snapped when I had just been able to put her to sleep. Tony Robbins talks about how success without fulfillment is the ultimate form of failure. And so I want you guys to really check in when you're going for a big goal. What feels aligned for you on that journey? Do you want to give up your values or your alignment to hit that goal, or is it more important to check in? And you can do both, by the way. I ended up hitting Diamond just before I got on the plane to leadership to go to Florida in February. It's possible. I want you guys to know that on a very, very deep level. Okay, so who here, show of hands, has a unicorn in their team? Yes. All right. I consider myself a pony. All right, so the unicorns, I see you unicorns down here. I see you. And Jessie, where are you as well? So there you are, hello. So the unicorns are the magic fast movers, the trailblazers. They move really, really quickly, and we think that they've got this untouchable magic, which, by the way, isn't actually true. They just worked really hard. Okay, yeah. So, but they appear to be these magical unicorns. Same with my beautiful upline Ange Peters. However, I really feel like in this journey that we call doTERRA, you get to decide the pace you go at. You get to decide what the end looks like. You get to decide if you're going to stand up on stage in jeans and a t-shirt and some really fun heels, instead of trying to be someone you're not, which for me in the last couple of days looked like trying to put on these dresses, and I was like, what the heck am I going to wear? I have 2 dresses in my bag that are sitting over there with my beautiful team. Love you. And today I just woke up and I was like, it's just not me. I need to stand up here in what I feel comfortable in and really shine a light that you can do this in a way that suits you. But for you, that might be. But for you, that might be a dress, and I applaud you. The point is, you need to get in touch with what this race looks like for you. And actually, I don't even want to talk about a race. I want to talk about this business in terms of growth, because when you step outside of that place of this is a business of a race, you get to really see the beauty of this business. Network marketing, guys, you don't have to compete against anyone. How cool is that? Is anyone else excited about that? You get to run your own race. You get to decide the whole outcome for yourself. And so I kind of think of it like a buffet line. So you get to decide when you step into that buffet line, right? Which is a celebration. We should celebrate our people when they decide we're stepping in, we're joining the buffet line. And every step you take down that buffet line towards dessert can mean anything for you guys, by the way. That could mean silver, gold, diamond, presidential, triple presidential. Every step along that way is actually a journey of growth. And so when we get into that place and as individuals, as leaders, for our team, in celebrating the growth and the milestones, that's when the real magic starts to happen. That's when we can create life advancements, guys. We talked about this just a few days ago in one of our leadership groups. A few of my leaders just missed out on hitting gold, but they celebrated life advancements, which just gave me so much joy and all the tears, all the things, basically. So I'm going to spring this on my leaders, who I am not told I have this slide of, but I want to talk about growth. So these two leaders, I adore. I love to the very core of who they are. One of them just walked across this stage and finished Diamond Club and participated and worked her butt off. He really showed up and learnt so much beautiful lessons from the growth of the last 4 months, which I'm sure everyone that walked across this stage was able to really take on those lessons as well. My other leader, Sarah, she is incredible as well. So she participated in the first month of Diamond Club and decided intentionally to step out of Diamond Club because she intuitively knew that it wasn't the right time for her. She made a choice. I know, right? How great is that? She made a choice that this wasn't the right time. And I know that it's kind of controversial to say that because I hand on my heart, believe the Diamond Club is incredible. But I also want us to think about growth from the place of appreciating the life ranks that come to us. Both of these women had incredible learnings that they took on in the last 4 months. They've both grown exponentially. The ranks will come because they allowed that growth and they made decisions that were really right for them and what success looked like for them in the moment as well. Sometimes I think that our perception is we just need to celebrate the rank, but in my team we celebrated both of these women equally. So this is me and my frontline leaders, except for one of my beautiful girls who's in Canada. And this was taken at a breakfast we had at convention just a couple months ago. And fun is strategic. I mean, it's pretty obvious. We think of fun and we think of like having fun sometimes as a way of just letting off steam, just being a bit silly, but actually it's really strategic. Fun taps us into happiness, which taps us into gratitude, which taps us into so much goodness in our body and the outcomes we create. Like I said at the start, our happiness and our ability to tap into that happiness actually creates more success. So I think this slide is a little bit self-explanatory, but I want you guys to think about when you're having fun with your teams, when you're bringing them together to have these shared experiences and you're just focusing on fun. That's actually a way to build energy, bring everyone together and move everyone forward really positively as well. And lastly, give your tribe something to run towards. So the 1960s management model tells us that we have to motivate people, or that we have to chase after them and tell them with some kind of fear-based thought process that they're not doing good enough, or they should be this, or they should be that, which I know is not you guys here, but that's an old school management model. But the idea that we need to motivate people is a really old form of motivation, and there's a whole bunch of TED Talks that you can actually watch on this topic. Dan Pink is a really great guy who talks about a lot of success and motivational work. But instead, I want you guys to flip it around and think about you as a leader really have a job to give your tribe something to run towards. When you paint a picture of what's possible for your team, you really allow them to run forwards towards something that maybe they didn't know was possible. And there's some really practical things that you can do in here too. I talk about painting a vision and being a leader and creating something positive to run towards, but also something like a rank program is a really great way that you give them really something solid to run towards. In my team, if you hit elite or above, it doesn't matter where you are in the business, you receive a little gift from me, a little personal handwritten note, and it's my way of appreciating and really celebrating the success of those leaders. And I started that actually when I wasn't earning that much money, because I knew that it was important. I knew that it felt good for me to be able to send that and for people to be able to receive that in return as well. So I encourage you to do that before you're earning much money. Don't say I'm going to hit diamond and earn a decent income and that's when I'll start giving. Again, Tony Robbins reference, but Tony Robbins talks about how when he had no money and he would just give what he had, and he says if you're not willing to give $1 out of $10, you're never ever going to give 1 million out of 10 million. So start before you're ready and create something for your team to be able to run towards, some little gift. If you're really strapped for cash, just send them a note, a handwritten card. How great is it to receive a little handwritten card in the mail these days? I never get mail, so it's really great. Also, a shared experience or some kind of recognition of your team showing up to these events, which for me is a different, but like another avenue of success. The fact that they've shown up to this means that they're ready to grow. And so give them something, give them a little of your time, give them a gift, give them some way, a massive old hug, whatever it is, of appreciating the success of them showing up. We're going out for dinner tonight, which I'm really excited about, and generally I'll give my team like a card, or we created a breakfast at convention where everyone came along and I got a professional photographer to come and take pictures, and we just recognized each other. It created a new level of connection, of happiness, of gratitude, and again, that always leads to success. So just to recap on these 7 principles, number 1, lead yourself first. Number 2, create and live goals with soul. Alignment brings all of the biz builders to the yard. Run your own race. Celebrate growth. Fun is strategic. And give your team something to run towards. And finally, I want to leave you with a quote that inspires me to come back to a place of reflection in myself, in my team and my business when I feel like I'm being too hard on myself for the journey and placing too much outcome on the rank. And it's actually a quote, I've changed it slightly to make it more appropriate for you guys, but it's a quote from a book that I actually read my girls frequently. And so these are just a very small handful of my leaders. It feels a bit silly to not be able to show everyone up here. But the quote is, every day, everywhere, leaders are walking. They take one step another, they fall down and then they pick themselves up again and try it again. Every day, everywhere, leaders are loved for trying so hard, for traveling so far, for being so wonderful, just as they are.
What a delicious girl.